The cold steel Emperor katana is constructed of spring-tempered 1055 carbon steel. It has a nagasa of 29.5 inches and weighs 2 pounds 9.5 ounces.
The Coulter steel sword actually was was a very interesting sword to cut with. With the downwards cut, both the cut from left to right and the turning cut, where we cut from right to left. Both those cuts, the cut was effortless. I felt no resistance as my sword went through the mat. It was almost like a perfect cut. However, with the diagonal cuts going upwards and the horizontal cuts, those were much, much more difficult. It kind of surprised me, given how easy it was to cut downwards with this sword. Cutting upwards was much, much, much harder. The sword that we tested, this one was certainly absolutely the best sword for the downwards cuts. For the upward cuts and the horizontal cuts, I would say it was about average. Not significantly better than any of the other swords. Not worse, but again, it's surprising given how easy it was to cut the downward cuts with this sword.
I like the weight and balance of it very much. The downward strokes are almost effortless. They go through very nicely. The upward strokes take a bit more effort to go through. Somewhat more difficult with that. The horizontals, we all seem to have a little problem with the horizontals. Overall, I would say it's a good sword. It feels well. Like everything else, you just have to be really accurate with it.
Cold Steel Emperor is my personal favorite. It's the sword that I use for all the cutting videos that I post on my channel. It goes right through on most of my cuts. But when they're going horizontal from left to right, that typically is my worst cut, so that's one I have the most difficulty with all the swords.
It's about an inch longer than the ones that we have been using. The blade is nice and sharp, and it's light, ironically. You figure it's a little longer, so you would think that it would be a little heavier, but it's super light. Overhead cuts, cut the mat very nicely. Horizontal cuts, the diagonal cuts, I didn't quite make a complete cut, but I think I cut pretty much all the way except a layer or so.
My overall opinion was it was alright. Probably wasn't the best of the swords we've cut with, as far as I'm concerned. Cuts weren't that great, but I just consider that personal deficiency. Uh,
Go.
It was a bit long for me, so I had to get used to that a little.
Initially, I think the balance, it's much heavier, but it appears not to be so. It's a lot easier to just cut straight, just straight down, because all the way will go from top to bottom or top to bottom from an angle perspective. So it'll be very easy because you'll just bring everything down. But when you cut it at an angle, then you can feel a little bit more the weight, and the swing had to be more firm in order to really cut. Putting very little effort. You know? When now you're turning the different angles, lower cuts, and then it became a little harder. So I had to really put really more strength. As you cutting parallel, it's difficult to. You have to put a lot of weight, a lot of strength, otherwise it will cut. It wasn't the angle, it wasn't the weight, but it was just, it didn't feel right. It was kind of hard, difficult to kind of distinguish. That's how I felt.